Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer the Elemental Energy Reading bonus reading for fire for the month of September of 2025. Fire covers the zodiac signs of... Sorry, my cards are falling down. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So if you're Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or have fire high up in your chart, then this message is for you. And if you've never had your charts read, getting a little more information on your personal elemental alignment, there's a link in the description for a natal chart that can give you quite a bit of information about basically where you're at. And that's not sponsored or anything. It's just a fun little tool that I've used for myself multiple times, and it's a general chart, so it's not too super detailed, but I like to do the bonus readings with the Celtic cross layout, so it gives us a general idea of what's going on, where are you at in this moment, what's happened in the past, and where you're headed in the future. These are general readings, so take what works, leave the rest for someone else. And if you're interested in the decks or cards, those are linked in the description as well. But if this deck would talk to me, first we go through and we will look at the tarot with the Celtic cross, and then we'll pull a couple of oracle cards at the end, kind of get a little different vibe check, see what else is going on, a little more clarification, so to speak. And also, just for fun, if you are seeing a different energy or you're getting a different intuitive guidance, if you're comfortable with sharing, go ahead and share that down in the comments. You never know who that might help or who that might inspire. When we read intuitively, Source brings in the most interesting messages, and it's always fun to hear what other people say as well. So, we'll get started here for fire. Your significator, this is kind of this totality of who you are in this moment, is the Ten of Pentacles. So right now, you've come to the end of a journey, and with Pentacles, we're talking like you've completed opening a business, you've completed proposing, you've maybe bought the house, you've got the mortgage signed or whatever. But in this moment, you are at a completed state. You've been through some ups and some downs, getting to where you're at now, fire, but you are in a good state. The Ten of Pentacles also works with earth energy, so it's saying that your foundation is strong. Earth is finances, hearth, and home. So overall, right now, in the moment, again, these are general, you are looking really good at the moment because you've completed stuff. You've brought things to their logical conclusion, which is actually saying you have the foundation to go even higher if you choose. You don't have to, but where you're at right now, you're comfortable because you've been there, done that, and you've succeeded, which is an awesome energy to be holding in the moment. So the energy that crosses you, fire, which this is an interesting one to have as a cross card. This is a challenge or obstacle. It is the shaman or the magician. And this is saying the things that are in the way is the fact that you may not know all of the other details. Like, you've got skills because you've completed stuff, that's where you're at in the moment, but there's something new that's coming in that needs to be learned. There's this new challenge coming in, but it's not a challenge of testing your authority, it's a challenge of testing your knowledge, testing your skill, testing your capital W, the divine aspect of the will, where yes, you've done all this, now can you hold it? Yes, you've done all this, but are you sure it's what you want? And that the universe isn't playing games, it's actually testing you. So it's not saying that you're not going to be able to keep going, or, oh, well, maybe I made a mistake. That's not what they're asking. They're asking, are you sure? And this is allowing you to say, yes, I have completed this project, and I'm ready for the next one. Or, you know, maybe I could tweak this just a little bit. Because the universe doesn't challenge you unless it's it's just testing you, and that's what you're getting here, especially with the shaman magician energy. It's saying, are you sure? Did you learn all the lessons? Did you make sure all that karma is cleared out? Because the shaman or the magician is all about you've acquired tools and now you can move forward. In a challenge form, it's basically saying, are you sure you got all those lessons cleared up? Are you sure you got all those tools gained? And if the answer is yes, then that challenge falls away. So that's where we're at to start with. So your higher self energy is the Five of Swords. This is saying that you've conquered a battle, but you aren't sure exactly what direction you're going next. But you also have this knowledge aspect. Swords are air. Again, you've got complementary energy coming in here, which is awesome. But with swords, this one is saying there's a battle that something has been lost, but you have come out on top. So you've succeeded, but what was it you had to let go of? Did you have to move to get to your success? Did you have to move away from family? Was it a job that you loved the job, you loved your coworkers, but your success lay elsewhere? This is the energy of, yes, you may have succeeded, but what did you have to let go of? What did you have to lose to get to where you're at? And when we're talking about this in a higher self aspect, your whole higher guardian energy, so to speak, it's really saying, appreciate what has happened. You've gained a lot, Fire. This is not to belittle anything. You've gained a lot. You've had to go through some stuff to get here. When you look back, what are you feeling about that? Are you feeling that it was worth it? Or are you feeling a little regret? And this is saying, let's process through any issues or negativity that might be associated. If you look back and be like, good riddance, bad rubbish, then you're in a great spot. If you look back and you're like, well, that didn't go the way I wanted it to, this is your opportunity from Source to say, then how can we fix the past? How can we make that situation a little bit better? Where you're at, you're not going to change that really because you've already moved back past the past. But are you able to look back and be like, is there a better way I can maybe view this? Is there a way I can process that lesson and clear things up a little bit more? Which is basically taking that cross energy of the shaman and amplifying it. So your shadow energy is the Hierophant, number 5 in the major arcana. So these are big life lessons here. And with this one, your shadow is saying, bring out your leader. You've done and succeeded greatly, Fire. You've been able to achieve a lot. Fire, you feel like you're an imposter. You feel like you don't deserve this right now. That's the energy that's coming forward, because this card is saying you need to draw this forward. The Hierophant, in some decks, it's the High Priest. This is where you've talked to the Lord and Lady, the God and Goddess, the Emperor and the Empress cards. You've discussed, you've gained wisdom, and now you're able to teach. The Hierophant is a teacher, it is a leader. And your shadow is saying you don't feel worthy of this. You're not ready for this. Your shadow's trying to be like, hello, look how far you've come. You've accomplished so much more than you possibly could have imagined in the beginning. And there's people who are willing to learn. This is you. These are all the people willing to come to you and learn. They are seeking you out. Why are you feeling that you're not worthy? Your shadow is the parts of you that you shove back and you kind of repress. So this isn't a negative aspect. And if you're not feeling that, great, that's even better. But that's the energy of the shadow coming forward, is step into your position, accept where you're at, be healthy proud. Proud of a job well done type of a thing, not I'm better than someone else, because you're always going to be better than someone else and worse than someone else, so that's a moot point. But what this one's really wanting to bring forward is be proud of what you've accomplished, be willing to share the knowledge. And so that's your shadow coming forward, really just kind of encouraging you to, yes, you've achieved stuff, you're not an imposter, look at the path you've led. You have worked, you have strived, you have blood, sweat, and tears, there's a trail of it, coming to where you're at, but you've succeeded, Fire. And now it's ready to pass the information on. It's now in a position where you can maybe even guide someone who's coming behind you. So this is a pretty powerful gift that your shadow is bringing up for you. Your immediate history, the last 1 month, 6 months, or a year, is the Queen of Pentacles, and this is tapping into some divine feminine energy here, again with Pentacles. So this is hearth, home, finances. Your immediate past was you have quote unquote laid some eggs, you have guided them, and you've nurtured them. In the present moment, these have all hatched. Your success is here now. May not feel like it in all aspects, but there's aspects of your success in this particular moment. Your history was you had to get things started, and you had to rely on help from others to protect your investment, so to speak, to protect and guide as it grew. The divine feminine was you were following your intuition and your guidance as you went through this path. Others were like, I don't know how he or she did it. There was all these things, they just fell together. But you were following your higher self. You were following this divine guidance in an intuitive sense, and that's what's led you to succeed. That's what led you beyond where you were and brought you to where you are now. You've completed that branch of things. Last 1 month, 6 months, or a year, you've completed a lot in that time period. And that's why remembering back, seeing what you've lost, appreciating how you've grown, appreciating the sacrifices that have been made. Sometimes you have to look back and kind of go back and apologize sometimes, because depending on how things went, or trying to fix things that may have gotten broken as you were moving forward, because sometimes when you start moving, especially when it's rapid, you don't realize sometimes there's devastation left in the wake. And that's what your higher self wants to bring forward. Your shadow is saying, now that you've accomplished this, be willing to share your information as you go forward. No one's going to walk your path, and no one's going to steal your destiny. That's not how it works. So don't be concerned with that, because you've done a lot to get where you're at. And you've done a lot of it through help from others and guidance from God Source Divine. So your immediate future, you got a lot of divine feminine energy coming up here as well, which is a little interesting. The Queen of Swords, again, divine feminine, and the Queen of Swords in this one is your future. If you don't learn the lesson from the shaman or the magician and gain that knowledge, the future is going to be a little bit you're not going to understand the future the way you would like to. They're wanting to say the future is not going to be bleak, but it's going to frustrate you because you don't understand what's happening. And that's where, when you gain that knowledge and you overcome the challenge of collecting the information that you don't know yet, that's that challenge from the shaman, is you have tools, but what are you missing? You have gained experience and knowledge, but what key is going to unlock the wisdom? And your future is really saying, if you don't unlock the wisdom, it's going to feel like a failure. You didn't. Let's make that really clear, because your success is flying all around you. Just because one little thing failed, it doesn't mean the whole thing did. And that's what they're wanting you to say, is if you don't understand, or at least come to terms with, there's something that I'm missing, what do I need to unlock the wisdom? When you accept that that's part of this journey, then the success just blooms. That's where all the flowers come in. But if you're focused so heavily on the one aspect that you didn't do and you're feeling shame or guilt about it, then that's where your focus is going to be. You're going to ignore the fact that you have all these things going on. You've got all the flowers, you've got the butterflies, your success is there. But what are you looking at? And that's just a gentle reminder as you're going forward. Sometimes our attention on a subject makes it good or bad, because we're looking at it from whichever aspect. So fire, as you're going forward the next 1 month, 6 months, or a year, don't get distracted by the things that may not have went the way you wanted them to. See what actually did happen. See how the universe maybe closed a window so that you could see the door better. You've got a lot of different ways to look at this, and your future going forward is positive. So don't focus on the things that didn't go quite the way you expected. Learn from them, obviously, but don't focus on them. So, your attitude, this is your inner world today, is number 20, the Judgment card. And this one is an interesting one, because it's not so much judgment as in, oh, can you believe they did that? It's more of, okay, now I need to look at things from a different perspective, and how can I balance the positive and the negative? How can I bring this into alignment, learn the lessons, expand the future? So when we look at the judgment in that aspect, it's not so much saying what's good and what's bad. How can I learn from this? And what I've learned and gained, how can I invest that further into the future? When we look at this as an attitude, your focus, actually, fire, is really good, because this is your inner world. This is where you're thinking of. Yeah, the future could be a little interesting. This is saying, but your focus is on, how can I keep building on what I've already started? This is your higher self energy, your God source divine, if you will. And this is where you're at, and you're looking up. You're still focused on the elevation. You're still focused on the growth. So your inner world is saying, how can I fix the things that I can fix? How can I let go of the things that I can't fix and free them from my energy field and still move forward successfully? So whatever is working with hearth, home, and finances, this is really focusing on that this month. And this is also saying, stay clear. Don't get distracted by the negative. You have to observe it, but don't get buried in it. So the outer world, this is the environment around you, this is stuff that's outside of your control, really, is the Knight of Wands. So you've got another fire aspect coming around you right now, and this other fire aspect is actually trying to defend you. So, and it could be, that's a weird way of looking at this. They want to defend you against yourself. So whatever this is coming in with somebody, it could be that person that's trying to be like, why are you looking at that? Yeah, it didn't go the way you want. Look where you ended up. Yes, that may not have happened the way you wanted it to, but look how far you've come. This Knight of Wands is really your kind of a mirror, but it's the mirror of, why are you looking down? Look up, you're going to trip. There's things all around you and you're focused on the pebble of sand. You're not going to see things. And so this Knight of Wands is that brutally honest friend that always is calling you out when you're trying to dive into the depths of despair again, or you're trying to be like, I'm such an idiot, I can't believe I did that. You have that one friend going, yeah, you might be an idiot, but are you gonna look where you've ended up? Look what you've accomplished. Why are you focused on that thing when this is where you're at? Like, and that's this Knight of Wands energy, is you've got this outside force coming in to really just rattle your cage, because stay focused on the important things, and that's what they're wanting to help encourage within you. Fire, this reading has some interesting ups and downs, but the theme is, don't get bogged down by what didn't work the way you thought it should, because look at how far you've actually succeeded and moved. So your hopes and fears is the Sire of Swords. This is kind of an apprentice position, and this is saying your hope is that you're willing to learn, you're willing to grow. Your hope is that, look, I've achieved this mountain, but I've got the skies to go through. I'm not done yet, and I'm willing to learn. The fear energy that comes with this is, am I good enough? Do I even want to try? Why would I want to go further than where I'm at? I'm comfortable here. I mean, I have, in this moment in time, I've achieved the 10 of Pentacles. I don't have to work any harder. But if that's a fear, the Sire of Pentacles is saying, now look at how much further you can go. You've climbed to the top of the mountaintop. Are you going to stop here? Are you going to fly amongst the dragons? You've climbed to the top. Are you willing to soar with the eagles? This is where you get to expand and learn further. And when we're looking at the energy in that aspect, before we look at your last card, I want you to look at how these cards line up, because it's a pretty interesting pattern here, if I can get my arms in the right spot. Because you're starting with judgment. How are things going? Where's your focus? Your attitude. Your focus and attitude are on the things that are important. Keeping moving forward, listening to your intuition, working with God Source Divine, and creating a new life. You have your outside world, the Knight of Wands. This is that friend, that brutally honest one that's like, what are you doing? Keep going. Look at how far you've come. Very important to have someone who is willing to call you out and push you forward, because that's what this energy is. But then you have, wrong direction, the Sire of Swords. That is air energy saying, look at how far you've come. Look at how far you can go. The sky's the limit. Are you willing to take that next step? The fear is, I don't know if I'm ready. But the hope is, I've got wings. Let's fly. Yeah, you might slip. You might fall. There might be some issues along the way. But are you going to be willing to keep trying and keep going? The hope energy here is so heartwarming, because it's saying, you've done all this. The next step is there. The universe is literally offering to help you, especially with this lineup, because you've got some pretty powerful energies coming in to guide you. So listen to your guidance, and if it's not the right time to take that leap just yet, that's fine. But don't be afraid of that leap when it does become an option for you. So, sorry, I love it when this card comes up because you never know what's going to come with it. Your final outcome is another major arcana card, but it's number 15. It's the devil. The devil is in the details, is what I'm first getting here. But it's also saying, why are you being chained by other people's opinions? The devil is the contrarian. This is that enemy of hope. It's the enemy of dreams. The outcome to this is, why are you letting someone else dictate your life? Why are you letting someone else get to tell you what you get to and not do? Because you are the one who gets to break your chains. That's that hope energy, is the sky's the limit. Are you going to stand on the mountaintop or fly with the eagles? This is saying the outcome is, be the devil to their story. The people who are trying to tell you not to, be the devil. You're going to be the contrarian. You think I can't? Watch. And that's where you get to step up. You get to be the chooser. The devil in this particular aspect is not saying, I'm not going to go with the flow. I'm going to challenge it. I'm not going to stay within the lines of what someone else has thought. I'm going to break those lines, and I'm going to show you how to really do it. So your outcome is really, you're going to be the bad guy but the good guy in your own story. You're going to break the rules, because the rules in some cases were meant to be broken, but you're breaking them in the way that frees you from other people's opinions, from other people's judgments. You still have that friend with the Knight of Wands going, what are you doing? Poke, 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 keep going. And that's where it's going to trigger your burst forth. Like, I am going to do this come hell or high water, and I don't care who else is around. This is my dream. This is my goal. The people who are with me are going to go with me. They're going to support me, challenge me when necessary, but overall, this is mine to do. And that's that beauty of when the devil shows up, especially in this type of a reading. Doesn't always have to be a negative card, and in this aspect, it's definitely not. It's not what I'm hearing anyway. So, with that, we'll hop over to our oracle, get a little more clarity, see if there's anything we can clean up here. But Fire, overall, what I'm seeing is you've achieved a great deal. There's still some more to do, but you're the one that gets to decide when that is. And as long as you stay focused on the things that are important to you, the next steps are going to be very easy. And it's funny because the devil energy there at the end is really saying, you're the one that's in control of this, break those chains and fly. No one else can do it for you. Really, not. I can't do it for you. I mean, that's your mission. So, with that, we'll hop into the oracle. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and comment. Let me know your thoughts, feelings, and impressions. And your first oracle card, I just completely blanked that word, is number 34. It is the assessment card. And what this is really saying is time to double check. Where are you at? Where are you headed? What have you accomplished? What do you want to accomplish? How much success? What have been the things you've learned? This energy with the assessment card is really a check-in card. How's everything looking for you, Fire? You're even represented right down here. You're the salamanders. Whoops, wrong direction. This is where you get to make the decision of where am I at? And you have all of the other elements in this energy. You have the gnomes, you have the undines, you've got a sylph hanging out here up in the air. You guys get to come together and play the galactic or the elemental, so to speak, round table. Where are we all at? Where are your strengths and weaknesses? After learning the things that you've learned, and they keep showing me business. So whatever you've done there, whether it's a promotion, starting your own business, whatever, what have you learned? How can you share this with others? And how can you use this to propel forward yourself, but also bring people along who are willing to put in the work? Don't drag around the people who are like, can't you do it for me? No, leave those people back there. They need to grow. But the people who are saying, I see what you did. How did you do it? I want to learn. Those are the ones where that are coming with you. And this is where that assessment comes in. What have you learned? Where are you at? What can you teach to the next generation? And what can you learn from those who've went before? And that's the energy that's coming forward with the first oracle card, is just figuring out what all is going on. Your reading here is really, your tarot was about what you've accomplished and where you're headed. This is saying double check where you're at. There's a lot more at play here than what you might realize. Your second card is number 36. It's Tears. This one is a little more solemn. When you look at everything that you've learned and you've looked at the things that you've sacrificed, have you properly mourned those losses? And I don't say that in a flippant way. I mean it as in, yes, you may have lost a friend along the way. You may have lost a house because you moved. You may have lost a coworker. Have you properly mourned those losses? And that doesn't mean you have to sit down and bawl and carry on and make a big scene. It's more or less saying, inside, are you okay with those things? And if not, give yourself time to feel and mourn through them. And when you do, your burden will be lightened, because yes, there's sadness here. But look what happens afterwards. You will elevate to that higher state. You release the burden of those heavier emotions. You release the burden of the guilt. You release the burden of the shame. Don't get me wrong, shame is a good thing. But when you're carrying it and blaming yourself for something that happened outside of your control, that's pointless. And that's what this is saying, is allow yourself to mourn the things that have lost. And in some cases, you may end up mourning the person you were, because you've had to grow so fast, so far beyond what you used to be, that you're almost like, but that person was still innocent. They weren't tainted. And as we grow, we do get jaded. I don't know anyone who isn't. By the time you're in your mid-30s, you're going to be a little more jaded than you were, let's say, at 12. But you can also be okay with losing that person. And yes, have your mourning for it. That's actually a healthy way to look at it, is I'm not that person anymore, but I've learned more than that person could have ever dreamed. And I may have learned some, sadness along with the gifts, but that's how life teaches us. So, your final oracle card is number 17, the Seeking card. Where are you headed, Fire? What information, what knowledge, what journey are you willing to step on next? The devil's in the details. The devil's breaking free of other people's opinions and ideas and ideals. And now you get to seek the next part of your journey. You get to seek out that next excitement, that next new excitement. Not excitement. Why is that word not coming to me? I love it when they show me an image and not words. It's that thrill. There we go. The next thrill. You're seeking out the next thrill because you're jumping from that precipice. You're spreading your wings. Is the wind going to catch? Maybe. And if not, you might skid down a little bit, but you're going to pull yourself back up. Why? Because you're always seeking the next thing. You're always seeking that next adventure. And this card is saying that is the childlike innocence, that wonder of what's around the corner? What's next? What are we going to do? I've accomplished this, but what's over there? You're always seeking and you're always growing. Fire, overall, this reading is saying what you've accomplished so far in the last 1 month, 6 months, or a year. You're not the same person you were before you started on this particular aspect of your journey, but you've achieved what you set out to do. Going forward, you get to break the chains of other people's opinions. And you might even rattle them a little bit and make them start seeking too. And then you're assessing. You're allowing yourself to release the past. And in doing so, you're opening the doors to so much more options in the future. And you get to pick because you're the one making the seeking choice. With that, I will let you guys go. Have a great month of September, and I will see you in the next video.